Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever found yourself feeling deeply hurt by something others brush off? Have you been told that you're too sensitive or take things too personally? If yes, I want you to know you're not alone. Sensitivity is not a flaw. It's not a weakness. In fact, it's a sign of emotional depth, awareness, and an open heart. But when sensitivity begins to feel like a burden, it's time to ask, why do I get so sensitive? And more importantly, how can I grow through it? Many people grow up hearing that being sensitive is something to be ashamed of. Society often equates emotional openness with vulnerability, and vulnerability with weakness. From a young age, we are conditioned to toughen up, to hide our tears, and to suppress our feelings in order to be seen as strong. As a result, those who feel things deeply start to believe that there is something wrong with them. But in truth, sensitivity is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of humanity. It reflects our ability to connect, to empathize, and to care. In a world that often forgets how important those qualities are. Being sensitive means you are attuned to the nuances of human emotion. You notice the tension in someone's voice, the sadness behind their smile, or the warmth in a small gesture. These details may seem minor to others, but to a sensitive person, they are loud and meaningful. This heightened awareness allows you to form deep and genuine connections with people, often making you the friend, sibling, or partner who truly listens and understands. That emotional attentiveness can't be manufactured or taught. It's something natural and beautiful that lives within you. Furthermore, sensitivity plays a critical role in creativity, compassion, and problem solving. Artists, writers, counselors, and leaders often draw from their emotional depth to create, inspire, and heal. Sensitive individuals can envision what others overlook and bring to life stories, solutions, and innovations that resonate on a human level. Far from being a weakness, their sensitivity becomes the fuel that powers their contributions to society. Many of the world's most impactful voices and hearts have belonged to people who felt the world more deeply than most. The idea that strength requires emotional numbness is not only outdated, it's harmful. True strength lies in allowing yourself to feel, even when it's uncomfortable. It's in choosing empathy when anger is easier. It's in standing tall with a trembling heart. When we accept that sensitivity is not something to be fixed, but something to be honored, we begin to live more authentically instead of shrinking ourselves to fit the world's limited definition of strength. We expand our understanding of what it truly means to be powerful. Sensitivity often doesn't arise out of nowhere. In many cases, it has deep psychological and emotional roots stemming from our earlier life experiences. The environment in which a person grows up plays a crucial role in shaping how they perceive and respond to the world. If someone was frequently criticized, ignored, or made to feel like their emotions or invalid during childhood, the nervous system may become wired to be more reactive to even subtle cues of rejection or neglect. These early wounds don't just disappear. They quietly influence our adult lives in ways we often don't recognize until we pause to reflect. Children who didn't feel emotionally safe may have grown into adults who constantly scan their surroundings for signs of danger or disapproval. A small comment that seems harmless to others might strike a sensitive person as a significant personal attack. This isn't overreacting, it's a survival response built from years of learned defense. The brain learns to overinterpret social cues as a form of self-protection. This hyper-awareness then becomes part of a person's emotional landscape, making them more prone to feeling hurt or misunderstood, even when no harm was intended. Past trauma, whether overt or subtle, can heighten emotional sensitivity over time. But in truth, it's often the past echoing in the present. That's why understanding your personal history is such an important step in understanding your emotional reactions. This exploration into the root causes of sensitivity isn't about blaming others or staying stuck in the past. Rather, it's about gaining clarity and compassion for yourself. When you begin to connect the dots between your history and your emotional responses, you start to see your sensitivity not as a random flaw, but as a perfectly understandable outcome of your journey. With that understanding comes the power to change. Not by hardening yourself, but by healing the parts of you that still need to feel safe, seen, and supported. We live in a society that tends to value logic over emotion, toughness over tenderness, and independence over vulnerability. As a result, people who are sensitive are often misjudged or dismissed as being overly dramatic, weak, or incapable of handling stress. These perceptions are not only unfair, they are fundamentally untrue. The world frequently misunderstands sensitivity because it views emotional expression as a liability rather than a strength. But emotional depth is not something to be feared, it's something to be honored. The misunderstanding of sensitivity often stems from discomfort. Many people are uncomfortable with deep emotion because they haven't been taught how to process or express their own. So when they encounter someone who is open about their feelings, it becomes easier to ridicule or minimize that person rather than confront their own emotional limitations. Sensitive people often find themselves in situations where their reactions are invalidated, not because they are wrong, but because they challenge the emotional boundaries others have set up for self-protection. This cultural bias creates pressure to suppress sensitivity in order to fit in. People may feel the need to hide their feelings, pretend they are unaffected, or laugh off situations that genuinely hurt them. Over time, this can lead to emotional exhaustion, confusion, and a deep sense of isolation. When your true self is consistently misunderstood or rejected, it's hard not to internalize the idea that there's something wrong with you. But in truth, the issue lies not with the sensitive person, but with a world that often lacks emotional fluency. Reclaiming your sensitivity means refusing to shrink yourself for the comfort of others. It means standing firm in your truth, even when others don't understand it. When you begin to see the misunderstanding for what it is, a reflection of society's emotional discomfort, you stop taking it personally. You begin to see your sensitivity as a gift that the world desperately needs, not a flaw to be corrected. And in doing so, you begin to step into your full power with grace, confidence, and authenticity. Many people mistakenly believe that being emotional or sensitive makes you weak or incapable of handling life's pressures. But the truth is, there is extraordinary strength in being emotionally open and vulnerable. It takes immense courage to allow yourself to feel pain, to process it, and to rise above it without losing your compassion. Real strength is not through emotional endurance. Feeling deeply means you absorb more of the world around you. You may notice the joy in a simple sunrise or be moved by someone else's suffering to a point where it lingers in your mind. This emotional depth allows for stronger relationships, more empathy, and greater understanding. But it also makes you more prone to emotional fatigue and heartache. The fact that you continue to move forward, to show up, to care, despite carrying more emotional weight, is a testament to your inner strength. Emotional strength isn't loud or flashy. It's quiet, consistent, and rooted in authenticity. And rooted in sensitivity should never be mistaken for fragility. In fact, some of the strongest people are those who have been repeatedly knocked down by emotional pain and yet choose to love again, to trust again, and to live fully despite it all. The world may not always recognize this kind of strength because it isn't always visible. But the ability to keep going, to keep feeling, and to keep believing in the goodness of life, even after being hurt, is a profound form of resilience. Sensitive people are warriors in their own way, emotional warriors who battle silently but bravely. Moreover, emotional depth can actually make you a better leader, friend, and human being. You understand the importance of kindness, of truly listening, and of creating safe spaces for others to be themselves. This is not a weakness, it's a leadership quality that many lack. Strength is often defined by external achievements, but true strength begins within the person who has tamed their inner chaos and turned their pain into purpose. Is far more powerful than the one who denies or avoids emotion altogether. Feeling deeply is not something you need to overcome. It's something you need to embrace as part of your strength. One of the most critical lessons for sensitive people to learn is the importance of setting healthy emotional boundaries. Because of their heightened empathy and emotional receptivity, sensitive individuals often absorb the moods, worries, and energies of those around them. Without clear boundaries, this can become overwhelming, leading to burnout, resentment, and emotional depletion. Setting boundaries is not about being selfish, it's about self-respect. It's a way of saying, my emotions matter too, and learning to protect your peace in environments that can easily drain you. Sensitive people often feel responsible for others' happiness or discomfort. They may go out of their way to avoid conflict, overextend themselves, or say yes when they really want to say no, all in an attempt to preserve harmony. But constantly prioritizing others while neglecting your own needs leads to emotional imbalance. Over time, this can result in stress, anxiety, or even physical symptoms like fatigue and headaches. Boundaries, therefore, become essential for maintaining emotional well-being and preserving the capacity to care without collapsing under the weight of it all. Learning to set boundaries doesn't mean cutting people off or becoming distant. It means communicating clearly, being honest about your limits, and recognizing when you need space to recharge. It involves giving yourself permission to step away from toxic conversations, to say no without guilt, and to prioritize your mental health without apology. Boundaries are not walls that separate. They are guidelines that protect. They allow sensitive people to stay emotionally available while also preserving their inner peace and sense of self. When sensitive individuals practice boundary setting, they become more empowered and balanced. Instead of feeling overwhelmed or taken advantage of, they feel more in control of their lives and their emotions. They can offer love, empathy, and support from a place of strength rather than exhaustion. Establishing boundaries doesn't reduce your sensitivity. It enhances your ability to use it effectively and sustainably. It turns sensitivity into a grounded, stable force rather than a chaotic or reactive one. Boundaries don't block connection, they create space for healthier, more authentic ones. When understood and channeled correctly, sensitivity becomes one of the most powerful assets a person can possess. It allows for deep emotional insight, creativity, and a natural capacity for empathy. Sensitive people are often the ones who notice what others miss. The slight change in tone, the unsaid worry behind a smile, the emotions others don't have words for. This kind of emotional awareness is rare, and when used with intention, it becomes a profound strength. Rather than being overwhelmed by the world, sensitive individuals can learn to navigate it with clarity and depth. Sensitivity enhances creativity because it allows people to experience the world on a deeper level. Many artists, writers, musicians, and visionaries are sensitive souls who turn emotion into expression, pain into art, and struggle into stories that move the world. When it's embraced rather than suppressed, sensitivity leads to powerful forms of expression. Moreover, in professional and personal relationships, sensitivity allows for strong emotional intelligence. Sensitive people can often read a room, adapt to others' emotional needs, and make people feel seen and understood. These qualities are invaluable in leadership, therapy, education, and caregiving. In a world that desperately needs compassion, the sensitive individual is often the one best equipped to offer it. Their ability to listen deeply, respond thoughtfully, and care genuinely makes them invaluable in any community or organization. Transforming sensitivity into a superpower requires self-centeredness and practice. From once that balance is found, your superpower and move through life with grace and purpose. It means learning to ground yourself with your enthusiasm. A traditional debt is more severe. When you own your sensitivity instead of apologizing for it, you unlock its full potential. And it becomes not just a part of you, but your greatest strength. Too often, people feel pressured to hide or downplay their sensitivity to meet societal expectations. They may mask their emotions, pretend to be unaffected, or act indifferent to avoid judgment. But in doing so, they suppress a core part of who they are. Sensitivity is not something to be tucked away or disguised. It's something to be celebrated. It reflects your humanity, your depth, and your capacity for connection. When you accept and honor your sensitivity, you give yourself permission to live authentically and to show up fully in every part of your life. Suppressing sensitivity creates internal conflict. It sends the message that your natural responses are wrong or inconvenient. Over time, this can lead to feelings of shame, self-doubt, and disconnection from your true self. On the other hand, celebrating your sensitivity brings freedom. It allows you to stop hiding and start embracing the qualities that make you unique. It opens the door to deeper self-compassion and inner peace. When you no longer see your emotional responses as flaws, you stop fighting against yourself, and that is where true confidence begins. Acknowledging and celebrating your sensitivity also helps shift how others view it. When you own your emotions with pride and maturity, you model emotional integrity for those around you. People begin to see that sensitivity is not something to mock or fear, but something to learn from and respect. You become a mirror for those who have silenced their own emotions, showing them that it's safe to feel, safe to express, and safe to be real. Your vulnerability becomes a powerful act of courage. In a way to difference from the same permission. True celebration of your sensitivity involves nurturing it. This means surrounding yourself with people who understand and support you, engaging in activities that recharge your emotional batteries, and giving yourself grace in moments of overwhelm. It's about building a life where your emotional depth is not, you shift from asking, "What's wrong with me?" to declaring, "This is what makes me powerful." That mindset changes everything about how you move through the world. So if you've ever asked yourself, "Why do I get so sensitive?" know this. Your sensitivity is not a flaw to fix, but a truth to embrace. It speaks of your deep heart, Your ability to care, to feel, to understand, and to connect in ways many cannot. The world may not always understand you, but that doesn't mean you need to change. What you need is to understand yourself, to protect your peace, to honor your boundaries, to heal what hurt you, and to celebrate what makes you beautifully human. In your sensitivity lies your strength, your wisdom, and your unique light. Don't dim it, let it shine.